The thumbnails have kind of been on point this year. Oh yeah. Now that being said, I fucked up the music and I gotta change the I gotta change the thing real quick. Say something real quick.
What's up, man?
All right, perfect. All right, you're good.
I have an incredible headache right now.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't know why. I've had a headache all day though.
That's a real shame. All right, here we go.
Will, what's up, buddy? Let's see. I was gonna go to a concert tonight, but
A concert?
yes, sir. I was gonna go see Pecos and the Rooftops.
Oh, I like them.
I do too. They're performing like literally like 5 minutes from my house at Mavericks Dance Hall.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I like those guys. They're really good.
I do too.
I get them mixed up. I get them mixed up with Co Wetzel sometimes, even though I know they're not the same. Obviously, I just listen to them kind of on those two in similar situations.
Will says it's a headache called Philadelphia. Will, you're not wrong.
Yeah, it really is. Good God.
It might have been that game. Oh my God, that was the most stressful sporting event I have ever watched.
That headache could be
in my life.
That headache could be your hat's too tight. It could be dehydration. It could also be the state of Philadelphia sports. You might have a point about
I will agree with you.
You might have a point about the Eagles, though.
I do have a point about the Eagles. Two best things that ever came out of Philadelphia was Will Smith and cheesesteaks.
All I'm saying is if you didn't say cheesesteaks, I was going to be upset, but you said it, so I'm good.
If you know your history, you'll know why. You'll know why Philadelphia, the capital is Washington D.C. and not Philadelphia.
Oh,
because the capital of the country was going to be Philadelphia.
I thought this was going to be about Will Smith. I was like, how is this complicated?
It's not complicated at all.
Keep my wife's name
out your fucking mouth.
He's goated forever for that, bro. That was crazy.
He really is.
Like, say what you will about the motivations or the reasoning behind it. The fact is, he did that shit. He slapped a grown man on national television.
Will says nothing like close games to take your life away. You know what took a decade off of my life? Daryl, I don't know if you watched it. Dude from the Phillies hit the ball, and Chaz McCormick and Kyle Tucker are running at each other, trying to decide who was going to catch it, and then they stopped. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And then Kyle Tucker was like, "Give me that." Oh my God!
Oh, you mean like your feed cracked up? And like it froze?
They stopped running because they didn't know who was going to catch the ball.
Oh, I see what you're
saying. They
saying.
physically stopped.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. I was planning to sleep good last night because I was going to get up kind of early, and then it kept being a close game. I kept expecting the Astros to break away because they were hitting the ball well, but you know how it's a World Series game. Like the defense is that third baseman for Philly is incredible. Was it Bohm?
He plays third base.
Having
third base.
Having played third base in the past, like it is one of the most difficult positions in sports. And my God, some of the plays that dude's making, to be able to run over to the base, to have the base out, and then off the base, like jump off and throw to first, like it makes me so mad because obviously I want the Astros to win, but man, it was making me nuts how like you just have to be impressed with this dude. He's so talented.
Welcome back, folks.
Welcome back to the quite frankly the part of the year where we kind of check out, kind of wind down a little bit, you know.
Yeah. Also, we've been completely focused on the World Series. I did not watch a second of football this past weekend because I was watching baseball.
You know what it is? Is it fantasy football keeps me plugged into the NFL way more than it does college football.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyways, you had a fun thing. You had a fun way to start the show. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on that.
So we've been watching baseball and we've been seeing all these political ads, right? And midterm elections are coming up and people keep talking about Roe versus Wade, and I didn't understand what they were talking about, really. I just thought it was a spirited debate over how to cross a shallow body of water.
Wow, that's a good joke right there. It's not that complicated. There's more than two ways if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Go vote, people. It's that time.
Obviously, I know what Roe v. Wade is. I'm
yeah, of course.
Go vote, people. Elections are on the 8th.
It's like that joke of the very young kid is brought to the game to a football game by his dad, and he's like, Dad, I don't understand this game. He's like, why don't you understand? He said, well, I don't understand why they want the quarterback so bad, or why it's only 25 cents because they keep yelling. I told that joke wrong. There's a joke somewhere about quarterbacks and 25 cents. What's going on, Brian?
What's up, Brian? Will says, never heard of them boxers before. What?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? My guy. Oh, are you talking about Roe versus Wade? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Boxers. That's funny.
The winner face to Logan Paul.
Also, I completely stole that joke I just told from a comedian that I enjoyed him, Jerry Wayne Longmire. Jerry Wayne, if you ever see this, I really enjoyed your show that I went to.
Oh, yeah. Man, it was... I didn't watch a lick of college football this past weekend. Did I watch?
Neither did I.
I watched a little bit of A&M and Ole Miss over my shoulder as I was playing Smash with y'all, and yeah. I just didn't care about that.
I played Smash with y'all and watched baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't. LSU was off, so I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, like I say, it's just that time of year where things are. You're kind of waiting for like a certain. Like, there's certain matchups left throughout the year that actually matter. Like NFL, it's
like this weekend.
Yeah, the NFL it still feels like there's a lot of matches that still matter. But right now, like you're kind of waiting for Tennessee and Georgia. You know, you're kind of waiting for LSU and Bama. And so we got those this weekend. Everything else is kind of like
LSU and Bama for who wins the West.
Isn't that crazy?
Society has fixed itself.
It does not.
The world is healing.
Nature is healing. It feels weird after all this that the LSU is really in the conversation because they lost week 1 to Florida State. They have looked
on a fluke play.
They have looked bad all year except for the fact that they keep winning. Like they've been the strangest team this year.
Jaden Daniels is on, man. He's on.
Exactly, and so
he had a hell of a game against Florida.
He did.
Only losses to the current number 1 team in the country. So, Also, just to give you an idea of how long it's been since Tennessee was ranked number 1 in the country, which was January 7th, 1999, T. Martin, who was their quarterback that year, who took them to the national championship that year, his son, Amari Rodgers, now plays for the Packers.
Really?
Yes.
Man.
Just to give you an idea of how long it's been since Tennessee was number 1 in the country. He had a kid. That kid grew up, played college football, and was drafted, and now plays for the Packers.
The last time I remember Tennessee having like a genuine potential look at the playoff was like it must have been 2015, back whenever they had
16. Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, when they had Josh Dobbs.
And they had the Hail Mary against Georgia.
Right. That looked like the last, because it looked like they just were destined to win that year because they needed like fairy dust to win like 2 or 3 games in a row.
And then they lost in College Station in 3 overtimes.
Which they had some fairy dust in that game too. That was pretty one-sided until like the 4th quarter, and they came out and scored twice and tied it up. I'm pretty sure.
I remember when who was Travion Walker. Busted that big run, and he's hauling ass. And that Tennessee guy just ran up behind him.
Travion Williams. Yeah, I was irate. Yeah, because we had the game was put away at that point, and then he punched it out. I was upset.
You see that in football a lot. You'll see somebody go tackle, and he's coming in straight fist.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I remember that game specifically because I was texting with a friend of mine. Because this is when I lived in Baytown. I was texting with a friend, and I was like, because we were going to go play Magic, because it was Saturday, and the store was stayed open late. We were going to go play Magic, and I was like, yeah, man, I'll come pick you up. The game's almost over. And that was with like 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. And then Tennessee scored, and then it went to overtime, and he texted me like literally an hour and a half later, and he was like, are you still coming? And I was like, yeah, the game just finished.
You can't. It's one of those games you can't make plans around because you just don't know what's going to happen.
And he wasn't really a sports fan, so I was like, and I had to explain to him, I'm like, yeah, the time on the clock in a football game says 5 minutes, but we might be here for half an hour. Like,
yeah, it is kind of weird having to explain that to non-sports people. Like, the amount of time you see on the clock is very deceiving.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of it's like that scene in Interstellar whenever they're on the planet and like 2 minutes pass, but then like 20 years pass.
I haven't seen that movie, but I know what you're talking about.
The way gravity affects time or whatever. But that's pretty much what it is. But yeah, for non-sports fans, I'm sure that is very confusing. But you know, it's not confusing, my man. Is your picks as of late, because you have been on your shit, bro. So last weekend you were 7-1. Your only loss was the Syracuse game whenever they lost to was it Clemson? No, it was Notre Dame that they played.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed in myself because I lost that as well. But I remember I thought I picked Notre Dame, and I rewatched the tape, and I said, I'm really going to regret this if I'm wrong. I think Syracuse is going to win, but don't be surprised. I was still on the fence. I should have just stuck with my gut and went with Notre Dame. But yeah, Syracuse, of course, dropped to Notre Dame, which is a shame, but same as Kentucky. They're kind of...
I'm closing the gap, folks.
You're closing the gap. You're only one behind. So this is a pretty big weekend for our matchup. 6-2 for me last week, 7-1 for you last week. 66 to 67%. So we're basically tied at this point. The only reason you're 3 points behind in the score is because of that Georgia upset that you...
Is it Oregon and Georgia?
Right.
Bro, there's a realistic possibility when we get to the end of this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the playoff rankings came out this week, and I have opinions. When we get to the end of this shit, the two on the outside looking in are going to be Oregon and Georgia. And they're going to have to look all the way back at week one, and they're going to be like, Georgia stomped y'all. Although that would not be the case today because Bo Nix is playing out of his mind. So
let me look at the playoff rankings because I actually
some of these I have opinions about.
Let's take a look. See, surely I can find a nice little graphic somewhere. Let's do it here.
And yes, people, I'm still wearing this hat.
Oh yeah.
The luck kind of ran out because we've lost 2 games to the Phillies. But
yeah, I don't know.
We're up 3-2 with a chance to win the game to win the World Series tomorrow night, with Framber Valdez pitching against against Zach Wheeler with a sore arm on short rest.
Yeah, Valdez has been pretty phenomenal. But here's your top 6. Tennessee, rightfully, I think, at number 1. How do you feel about Ohio State at 2?
I don't like Ohio State at 2.
I mean,
Georgia should be number 2. Clemson above Michigan is criminal.
That's
criminal to me.
Well, no, I like Clemson.
Who's Clemson beaten? Who have they played?
Wake Forest, Florida State. Well, Florida State kind of fell off, but yeah, if it's me, I'm putting Georgia probably at 2, Ohio State at 3, and then Michigan at 4. But Georgia, if the only reason they're not 2 or 1 is because of that really, really ugly close game against Mizzou, and the fact that they you know what it is, honestly, is that they look somehow worse now than they did in week 1 overall. You know, you're just less impressed when you watch them. They don't feel as complete as they did against Oregon.
But here's the criminal thing to me. Look at the resumes of the 2 teams the team I'm about to say, the team that I think should be over them. So to me, the top 4 should be Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan, and then Clemson in the 5 spot and TCU in the 6 spot. Alabama over TCU. Yeah, Alabama 6 and TCU is 7, but who has Alabama really played?
No, I kind of agree. I mean, especially considering that Alabama did almost lose to Texas and Texas A&M.
Almost lost to Texas. Almost lost to Texas A&M. And their only other real SEC opponent was Mississippi State and Vanderbilt.
Right. And they played Arkansas really well, but as we've come to find out, Arkansas is not as special as we thought they were. So yeah, I think this is
TCU should be up here.
This is definitely one of the weaker Alabama squads in comparison to previous years. So, yeah, I don't think that they're – but I agree. I think TCU should be in this conversation as well. But they're a Big 12 school, so they're obviously going to get the same level of, love. But Sonny Dykes has some boys looking nice. I think, honestly, if they keep winning, that conversation will happen. And you just know, I mean, obviously, Georgia and Tennessee, depending on how that game goes, you have to think one of them will drop out of the top 4. Bama still has very much so has a losable game this weekend. If Bama loses this weekend, it's completely over for them, obviously.
The media loves them, though. The playoff loves Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't put a 2-loss Alabama. Because if Alabama loses this weekend, they're not going to the SEC championship unless crazy shit happens.
I mean, so honestly, this feels like the first weekend This feels like the first top 6 in a couple years where you're just going, yeah, we absolutely need an 18 playoff. In the past,
we're getting 12 in like 3 years.
Yeah, we're getting 12, of course. But this is one of the more recent times. This is definitely a year where you go, 100% we need this because.
Also, shout out to Tulane. They're number 19 in the playoff rankings.
Love to see it.
Also, if the season ended today and we went to a 12-team playoff, they would be in it. So
isn't that insane? That would be so much fun.
Hey, Tulane, join the SEC, damn it.
Brian says if Oregon wins out, where do you think they go? Yeah, I know. I kind of think they. I kind of agree with Spencer. I think.
Also, the Beavers are ranked.
Yeah, which is awesome. I kind of with Spencer. I think that what's going to happen is you're going to have a similar situation in 2020 A&M in Florida, where they're going to both be sitting outside, and you're going to go, well, early in the year, this team bit this team, so it's going to be tough. I think that honestly, it's going to be like Georgia gets in or Oregon gets in, and because of that early loss, they get Georgia in, but. I think Oregon's right there. I mean,
Georgia has to lose 2 games. If Oregon wants to jump Georgia has to lose 2 games.
Yeah. So Oregon, you're pulling for the Vols this weekend, basically.
Yeah. Oregon, you're pulling for Tennessee, and then because you need Georgia to not make it to the SEC championship. Mm-hmm. That's what you need.
And if
you also probably need Alabama to not make it to the SEC championship. Because I don't know if let's say LSU beats Alabama this weekend and then runs the rest of the table. And goes to the SEC championship against, let's say, Tennessee wins this weekend. Oregon would jump over Alabama.
You almost wish Oregon played USC in the regular season because then that kind of gives you a little bit more of a resume buffer. Washington and Colorado, you feel like they're going to probably win pretty confidently. Utah and Utah State are the ones that you kind of circle, especially with Utah and Oregon State are the ones you kind of circle. Utah has been scrappy, and Oregon State has obviously been able to find ways to win games. So, yeah, I mean, there's certainly a way in, but I think that it requires Georgia losing this weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think Georgia has to lose 2 games for Oregon to jump them somehow.
Yeah, but the Beavers being ranked certainly does help out Oregon because it's going to be
they're going to play rivalry weekend.
Right, and they remember November. You know how that goes.
They do, but you have to freaking you have to hope for Oregon if you want that game to look good. You want the Beavers to keep winning.
Yes. And then you want to go beat them convincingly. So there's a lot riding on it. It's the reason a 12-team playoff is going to be very welcome. I mean, just think about the map. I mean, just imagine if we had a 12-team playoff this year, we'd be looking at like Oregon.
Think about the year
and Tennessee and Tulane. Like obviously Tennessee win.
There's going to be a year where it's going to be like the winner of the American, like Tulane or SMU or whoever. Mm-hmm. They're gonna run the table and they're gonna go undefeated and they're gonna get into the playoff as the conference champion, and they're gonna play the number 1 seed, which is either gonna be the Big Ten champion or the SEC champion, and they're gonna have the magic. They're gonna have the magic stick and they're gonna beat them. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you, it just will. Like
yeah.
They're gonna go on this magical run. And what's up, Steven? I see you. They're gonna go on a magical run, and then they're gonna get like real deep to the playoff, and then we get to start talking about like Cinderella runs, like we do in college basketball.
Here's a question I have, because we are in November right now. I'm gonna pull up Purdue's schedule and figure out who is on upset alert in the next couple of weeks. Illinois will lose. No, I take it back. They go to Illinois. Iowa is going to get beat this weekend by Purdue. It's like I was telling you last night. There's a couple things in sports you do not do. You don't want to get week 1 Maryland, right? You don't want to get the Tigers at night in Death Valley. You don't want to get Purdue at night in November at home. And you don't want to get the Astros Game 5 of the World Series. These are things you do not want. But yeah, they host Iowa this weekend. So yeah, Iowa's going down. I just get that.
Also, I was going to send you a meme because I was looking at my Facebook memories, and the memory popped up. It was back in 2016 when A&M was ranked in the the first poll at number 4,
yeah.
and then lost that week to Mississippi State. And I was going to send you that, and I was like, pictures taken before disaster.
Well, you know what pissed me off about that was, like, not only did that happen that way, but Clemson was also in the top. I think Clemson was number 3, and they lost to either, I forgot if they lost to Purdue or if they lost to Syracuse. They lost to somebody that same weekend.
It was either Pitt or Syracuse.
Yeah, and if A&M had won that, they probably would have scooched up to number 3. But of course, that went. They shot the.
Whatever happened to Nick Fitzgerald? That guy was a beast.
That's a good question. That's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Let me look up Nick Fitzgerald. See what this guy is.
Yeah. While you're doing that, I will pull up some games that we gotta call this week. Not call.
He's currently a free agent.
Checks out him and Manti Te'o just waiting for a call.
Yeah. Did you watch that Manti Te'o documentary?
I did. Incredible.
Oh, man. You know those same people are making a documentary about Johnny Manziel?
Well, that I feel like there's going to be less. I mean, it'll be interesting, but it's going to be less ridiculous, you know?
I think it's going to be a little bit more ridiculous.
It'll just be like he was really famous and couldn't handle it. It's not going to be like he got catfished by someone, you know? Like,
that's crazy.
But anyways, first game this week, we have Kansas State going to visit Texas. I take it back. I keep reading these backwards because they put them in backwards on the ESPN list. Texas is going to visit the Wildcats of Kansas State. Quietly, Kansas State is number 13, and they have quality wins over some of the likes of Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. They have wins over Texas Tech, and I think they're about to have a win over the Longhorns as well. In I keep wanting to say Lincoln, but Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah, so should be a fun one, man. Texas is technically 2.5-point favorite per Vegas, but you know how that goes. So who you got?
I don't know, man. Kansas State's been playing really well. They just put 48 on Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State didn't.
And
they put up a goose egg.
And they were leading TCU until TCU came charging back. So I mean,
I think that's TCU's plan.
It feels like it, right?
It really is their plan. Let their opponent get out to a big lead and then catch them.
Just fast as let them fall asleep.
So here's what you do, people who are playing TCU. Don't get out to a big lead.
Yeah.
Let them keep the lead, and then you win at the end of the game.
Keep it close.
You don't want to beat TCU, let them go up 28 and you score 3.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was going to say, exactly. Let them get up 28-3.
Do it. Yeah. Because it's in Manhattan, give me Kansas State.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking the Wildcats here. They just look good right now. I mean, I just can't. To see how Texas struggled against Oklahoma State. I don't know, obviously the penalties were a thing, but I mean, if you just literally a litmus test. Oklahoma State won the game versus Texas. The morale should be higher, and yet look what happened last week. I mean, the litmus test of Oklahoma State. I got 48 points to say that K-State should win this one. So give me K-State big in this.
Also, before we continue, I have a very sad prediction.
Okay.
I think this is going to be Lee Corso's last year on game day.
I think it is too.
Because he's missed 3 weeks this season because he's been sick or unable to do it, which means I think they brought Pat McAfee. To me, they saw the writing on the wall. That's why they brought Pat McAfee on at precisely the right time.
I couldn't agree more.
And also, Stephen A. Smith was on game day this past week, and I didn't watch it because they went to Jackson State. They were at an HBCU.
I had no clue.
Yeah. So, also, somebody on Twitter had a really funny idea. They were like, imagine the show To Catch a Predator, but with Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, man. What the hell happened to Wake Forest? I'm looking at our next game. Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, they're going to visit the NC State Wolfpack. NC State, who has...
What happened to NC State? They started the year ranked number 6.
What happened to Wake Forest? How did they only score 21 versus Louisville? There must be some injury somewhere or something. Something ain't right. I don't know. Because their offense has been sensational all year. I mean, they have been
Sam
unstoppable.
Hartman must be injured.
I mean, is he?
This dude be slinging it. Unless Louisville's just kind of an incredible defense.
I mean, did Louisville just pop out of nowhere? And what happened here? I'm looking. Louisville forces 8 turnovers in row.
Yep, that'll do it.
That will do it.
I know what the problem is. Ain't no gas in it.
Damn it. We figured it out. Oh, wow. I didn't know about this. I literally just was like, oh, this looks like a fun matchup. But wow, how did this happen? So Wake Forest didn't score anything in the first quarter, came out and scored 14, tie it up. And then Louisville just...
We forget that Louisville quietly has one of the best quarterbacks in the country, Malik Cunningham.
Lost 3 fumbles. I think they have a bounce back week, though. I believe in Wake Forest. I believe.
Yeah, I was going to take Wake Forest because Devin Leary is out for NC State. So give me the Deacons.
I'm going to take the Wolfpack. All right. What if Sam Hartman is jinxed? What if he can't get that game out of his head? What if it's not a bounce back game and they're at NC State?
They're in Carter Finley, so like
NC State's defense.
NC State, but give me the.
I'm taking the Wolfpack. I'm rooting for Wake Forest because I actually kind of like them a little bit, but yeah, give me NC State.
I see Daryl going NWO Wolfpack. Also, you watch wrestling more than I do. Mm-hmm. Are they really doing or did I just see a mock-up on Twitter? Are they really doing an AEW WWE crossover event?
No.
Okay.
No, not
that's fake news then.
So, but
I saw something on Twitter where people it was all these mock-up, but it looked like a real thing, and it was Darby Allin versus Randy Orton. And
people on Twitter,
what is this?
People on Twitter just are talented and toxic, so you do the math. Not that that's a bad thing per se, but they like to have fun. But there is drama. So I wouldn't say drama, but similar to what you're saying, there is, in the past, AEW has been really, really open to working with other promotions. Ring of Honor, Impact, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Impact is still a thing?
Impact is still a thing, although it is very small compared to what it was. And so historically, they've been the ones that are okay with opening the forbidden door, which is to say, you can go wrestle in other companies. We would like other companies to come wrestle with us. WWE, and since the WCW shit back in the day, they have shut that shit down, and they're like, we're only WWE, we're never messing with anybody else. But now that Vince is out of there and Triple H is in the business and he's running things, he's like, actually, Shinsuke, you go wrestle with this company now, and GCW, you guys can come do some stuff with us. So slowly but surely, that is crumbling. We are closer to an AEW WWE crossover now than we ever have been, but that's still probably several years out. if ever, because they're the two biggest right now in the world.
You remember back in the day, because I remember back in the heyday of when I was watching wrestling. Our side note about wrestling, by the way. We go on one tangent every week. This one's about wrestling.
Hell yeah.
I remember back in the day when it would be you had the big four, right? You had WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and the Royal Rumble, which was the brands were combined on those. But then every month, each brand had a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Right? And I remember you had a SmackDown pay-per-view and you had a Raw pay-per-view. That was it. You didn't have, it wasn't all this combined.
No, yeah, you're right.
So I just remember that I had a thing. But imagine, you remember the traditional Survivor Series matches? Yeah. It would be 5 Raw guys versus 5 SmackDown guys. Mm-hmm. And whoever won got bragging rights because, we're the best brand or whatever.
Right.
And you'd get it'd be John Cena's team versus The Undertaker's team. Or you get 2 guys in a feud and then they would pick 4 other guys. And anyway, imagine a Survivor Series match with WWE guys and then AEW guys on the other side.
Oh, it would be so much fun.
It would be.
It would be so much fun. And,
also, speaking of Impact, whatever happened to my boy Abyss? Do you remember Abyss?
He's a producer for WWE now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he doesn't wear the mask anymore. He's just a dude back there. He's helping run things.
What's his real name?
I used to know, but
is it Michael? I feel like his name is Michael.
That sounds right, but no, he actually was on Raw on camera one time because AJ Styles walked by because he's on Raw now, obviously, and he saw him without the mask on, and he's a producer, and he kind of stopped and talked to him. And he was like, I feel like I know you from somewhere. Then he kept walking. It was a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the fact that
Christopher Joseph Park.
Yeah. But they kind of had a little thing one time where AJ Styles walked by, and he was he's talking to him. And he's like, I feel like I know you from somewhere, and he walks by, and it's a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge that used to be Abyss,
Yeah. I just remember back in when Impact, when it was
Will.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay's pay-per-view was Raw. back when Impact was TNA.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, dude, they had so many when they had the Octagon, when it was a 6-sided ring.
Yeah.
And they would do like the 6 sides of steel cage matches, and they had the X Division, and they would do that X Division match where they had the 2 ropes across the thing, and you had to grab the belt.
Elevation X. Oh my God, so dangerous.
AJ Styles and what was that other dude's name?
Christopher Daniels.
Christopher Daniels. I almost said Chris Angel, but he was like the fallen angel. That was like his gimmick.
Yeah. Chris Angel's the magician.
Yeah. Another tangent. Did you ever watch Mind Freak back in the day? Did you ever watch Chris Angel's show?
Yeah, hell yeah, I watched it.
I was a sucker for that shit.
Oh yeah.
And now you go watch it now, and it is the cringiest. Like, what on earth is this shit you've ever seen in your life?
Early 2000s TV
is undefeated.
Yes. Like original Fear Factor, old Survivor. I mean, some of the stuff that they put on TV.
Original Fear Factor was crazy.
That went wild. But yes, no, that wrestling and anything that it, to me, the best part of Impact was always anything that they did, anything AJ Styles did, obviously, but everything.
Or Jeff Hardy back in his heyday with them.
Yeah, he had some moments in there as well. But I always thought that the heart and soul of TNA was either anything AJ Styles was doing, or it was the rivalry between Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that was good
they
too.
Put on some good matches.
Or like in the later years of TNA when Bubba Ray and Devon were there and they had that whole Ace thing.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know if you remember that, but I vaguely remember watching part of that.
Yeah,
and they were like a biker gang or whatever.
Yeah, no, that was pretty interesting, and it was cool because they had like AJ Styles come back as like the good guy, even though he was with them for a while or whatever. It was a pretty complicated little arc, but no, it was cool. Sting was great, obviously, but yeah. Anyways,
you remember 2011 at Victory Road when Jeff Hardy showed up too fucked up to wrestle.
Oh God.
My boy was hitting the sauce hard. He'd been hitting the sauce because I saw that article from like 2 months ago.
It's the Orlando screw job, man. That was a scene. In case there's any wrestling fans watching this, or non-wrestling fans that want to know what happened that day, Jeff Hardy, who is an all-time
notorious drinker,
but yeah, he showed up basically just high as a kite to a wrestling match one time. The main event, by the way, with the championship and all. And he shows up and he's like, about to wrestle, and he's very clearly like high off his ass, and they don't know, so they had to figure out what to do. So Eric Bischoff, who's like running the show, walks out, and he's like, "Gentlemen," and he like shakes both of their hands. Like while he's shaking their hand, he like whispers in the ear, like, "Hey, you need to pin him real quick. Hey, he's gonna pin you real quick." And then he goes, there's a mic. He goes, "I just want to let you gentlemen know this is now a no disqualification match, so anything goes. All right, see you later." And he walks out the ring. Sting hits him with one move, and then they end it.
It's like
the crowd's like, what? So it's just ridiculous.
Speaking of wrestlers getting high, a buddy of mine sent me a meme the other day, and it was like me looking at my electric bill. Please don't be high. Then it was a picture of Rob Van Dam.
Oh, that dude is so talented. All right, we have to get back on course. We have to reel it in. We got a rivalry game, Spencer. We got the Seminoles of Florida State going to visit the Miami Hurricanes, who are mid as hell. They are mid. They are 4-4. They are mid as you can possibly get. It will be in Miami. I mean, as is to say, Hard Rock Stadium. It will be in Miami's home stadium. Rivalry game, as you know. Florida State, who has kind of fallen off, but has been scrappy. They lost 3 straight to Clemson, NC State, and Wake Forest. Probably the most quality opponents they're going to play. But they've won some games against like Louisville. They've won a lot of games early on. You remember they beat the LSU. And they looked pretty good against Georgia Tech last weekend. So clearly Mike Norvell has those boys figuring some things out. And they weren't exactly stomped in those other ranked matchups either. They were usually, I think it was one possession, and then a 2-possession game is what those losses were. So I think Florida State is still there. How are you feeling about this one, man? Who are you taking?
Florida State. Just because I don't really know much about either of these teams. The only time I watched Florida State was when they beat LSU.
Yeah.
So
I'm taking
yeah. But I do think Florida State's on the upswing. I think they're on the uptick.
I agree. And I think that it's just growing pains right now. Any of those games, that they have lost so far, including the one against Clemson, was winnable. The biggest loss they had was to Wake Forest, and because they got that insane offense. But yeah, giving the Seminoles, I think they're the better team here, regardless of where they're playing at. Vegas has them as a touchdown favorite. Let's see, K-State. No, I already said
talked about them already.
We did Kansas versus Oklahoma State. And this is an interesting one because, let me remind you, Oklahoma State got goose egg last week. They got hornswoggled last weekend. They got absolutely folded, 48-0 against Kansas State. And Kansas, although they have been lackluster,
started 5-0, and I don't think they've won another game.
And they had a close loss to TCU, and I mean it was close. Gets beat by OU, gets beat by Baylor, pretty confidently both times. Where's the magic gone? But they are at home, and this is the crazy thing, man. Vegas has no clue either. Vegas has them even. They don't have they don't know what's going on with this game. So, this is a very close one. Who you got in this, and why?
My heart wants to say Kansas because they're in Lawrence.
Yeah. And
I like Jason Bean, and I like Lance Leipold and where he's got that Kansas program going. And I would love for them to win this game and get bowl eligible, but I don't think. Yeah. Give me Oklahoma State. Even though Oklahoma State got demolished last week, I think they come back out and they get something done.
Yeah, man.
I really hate to say that because I want Kansas to be successful, but
somehow,
like I told you, Kansas might not win another game. That makes me sad to say.
Yeah. Well, and I just can't figure out what happened last week. I mean, you eliminate last week, and I think Oklahoma State wins this by 2 touchdowns. But how on earth did they lose 48-0 last week?
No clue.
I just can't figure it out. So, logic, says Oklahoma State, but I feel like you gotta throw logic out right now because what happened last week? I don't know. I'm so torn on this one. I guess I'm gonna go Oklahoma State, but my heart is like, I don't know, man. So
Brian says we're not in Kansas anymore.
No, actually we are. It's going to be at Kansas. All right. Anyways, moving on. The big one for you, my man, to potentially save a Louisiana playoff bid, which, by the way, that can happen. It's going to be tough, but that can happen. LSU, the Bayou Bengals.
This is now a top 10 matchup because we got a favorable position from the playoff committee. LSU's number 10.
The Golden Wash is against the Crimson Tide.
Daryl, let me tell you a thing.
All right, Heavy.
This is the least worried, the least give a fuck I've ever been about LSU Bama.
Yeah, I can feel it.
LSU plays Alabama this weekend. That's a thing that's going to happen. I wasn't this chill about it when we had Joe Burrow and we beat Alabama. And that should have been the time I was the most confident. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I have confidence. This is just a football game that's going to be on. Obviously, I want LSU to win, and I think they have a realistic chance to win. Mm-hmm. It is going to be a night game in Death Valley.
Yep.
But it's going to kick off an hour before World Series Game 6.
So why do you give a fuck?
Yeah. I'm going to be... Although I do get to watch LSU, Bama, and the Astros potentially win the World Series in the same day, which is going to be very fun. Mm-hmm. But as soon as the World Series starts, the World Series is going to be on the TV and LSU, Bama is going to be on the iPad.
Right.
Now that being said, Alabama is coming off a loss, and they're every year LSU and Bama have their bye week before they play each other. That's just what happens. Mm-hmm. And because I think I sent you the TikTok. Nick Saban was talking about the first hole-in-one he ever hit because his birthday is on Halloween, and he was talking about he had a bunch of friends over. He goes, my birthday's Halloween. That's our bye week, and the next week we play LSU. Mm-hmm. And he said
I hate that he's had a hole-in-one, by the way.
And he said it was in secret. He goes, there can be no pictures, no video, no media, nothing. Because if they found out that I was playing golf and then we go lose to LSU next week, they're going to run me out of town. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So he said he was on a par 3 and he swung a 3-wood and it went in the hole.
That makes me so damn mad. When you have that many national championships, you don't get to have a hole-in-one too. Damn it, man.
Will says, "Oh, please, dear God, don't let this go south for you, my friend." It might. because Alabama after a loss turns into like Alabama Megazord mode, right? Like they go on just flattening people, right? But LSU's playing really good, and we get them in a night game in Death Valley. So like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Weird things. Now Vegas does say this is a 2-pointer for us. So I mean, if we're right here, and if you pick LSU and you're right,
let me guess, Alabama's like a touchdown favorite.
13-point favorites.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they really think they're going to.
That's probably correct.
Yeah,
that's probably correct.
I think so. It feels fair to me.
When we had Joe, the year we had Joe, and we went and played the Natty, I picked Alabama to win this game, and LSU ended up winning by 5 points. And then I think I've picked Alabama in this game every other time, or in the 2 times since then. And I think it was 2 years ago we played them close, and I think we played them close last year too. I think we only lost by like 6 points. It was 20-14. Yeah. We had a realistic chance to win that game. You know, obviously they still have Bryce Young.
Can't decide, can you?
I can't. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna have some balls. Give me my Tigers. Night game in Death Valley. Give me my Tigers by a touchdown or less.
All right, close game. I'm taking the Tide. I just think that I'm happy
to be wrong about this.
Yeah, I think they're firing.
I'm probably not going to watch much of it. I'm watching an hour of it, and then I'm watching baseball.
If LSU wins this, though, I will be. I think it'll make for a more interesting playoff situation. So, although I'm rooting for the Tigers, give me the Crimson Tide. I think they do pull it out. But
that's probably the way the game's going to go.
I hope.
I do think LSU has. I think LSU has a realistic chance. Like I'm not just being biased and talking out of my ass. I think they have a real shot.
I do too. I came close, honestly. I was honestly just listening to what you had to say, and I was like, I wonder if you're going to convince me to actually take them, but not so.
I don't have a convincing argument. I'm just like,
I just I can't figure it out.
This feels a little bit more even.
Yeah, it does feel more even than they have.
13 points.
I agree. I think it's a win.
And this feels a little bit more even than even 2019 did.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was worried as hell about 2019. But like this one I'm not worried about.
LSU obviously doesn't have the offensive fireworks that they had that year, but
I still think our offense is good.
The offense is good, and the defense has been playing extremely well as well. So I don't know. And Ole Miss, it turns out, I think, after what they did against A&M, I think Ole Miss just is not as special as we thought they were. They're good, but it was kind of an eye-opening experience, I think, seeing after they lost LSU and then go play A&M, as bad as A&M has been, to be able to almost beat them like that. I think Ole Miss is not quite what we thought they were. Another team that maybe we didn't quite know what they were is Notre Dame, who, although they are 5-3, do host the Clemson Tigers, your number 4 Clemson Tigers, this weekend at Notre Dame. It will be a night game, and it will be in one that Notre Dame is only a 4-point dog in, man. They've been playing very well. They beat Syracuse, who is, of course, number 16 last week. You look at their schedule, they've won some games that are challenges, but nothing that you look at and go, wow, they're incredible.
But they also lost to Marshall.
Well, right, and that was so early on. So you take those first 2 weird games away, because it was Marshall and somebody else they lost to.
I think they lost to Stanford too.
They did lose to Stanford later on, but whoever that first week that they lost to was the really embarrassing one.
Ohio State, because we thought Ohio State was going to wax them.
That's right. They did lose. Okay, it was Ohio State. So I mean, you look at that and you go, okay, Notre Dame might be better than their record. Can't really tell, but Clemson, as we know, is actually very, very good. So I'm taking Clemson in this one. I don't think this is complicated. What about you?
I think this game is going to be closer than people think it is.
4 points feels about right.
Yeah. There's part of me that wants to say Notre Dame just because this would be the most Notre Dame shit they've ever done, right? Upset the number 4 team after losing.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad about it because it'd probably take Clemson out of the playoff picture or leave room for a TCU or a Michigan or a...
Yeah. I'm going to pick Clemson, but close.
Okay.
Clemson close.
I agree.
Part of me, it's like 51-49, almost pick Notre Dame. Clemson close. This would be the most Notre Dame shit that is ever known.
Like I said.
Also, can we talk about how the fact that the Phillies hit 5 home runs in one game and then got combined, next game? Is that not the most baseball thing that has ever baseballed ever? Well,
it's telling. I mean, it came down honestly to Lance McCullers telling his fastball.
Yeah.
I mean, when you broadcast exactly what the pitch is going to be like that, you can hit 5 home runs. So you take that away, and you take away game 1 where Verlander kind of shat the bed. You take away that.
Astros 3 constants in life. I mean, not now because he solved it. Before last night, 3 constants in life: death, taxes, and Justin Verlander not being good in the World Series.
Pull off his mask. Oh, this is actually Josh Allen. All right, moving on.
But no, I'm glad Verlander finally got his. Also, Verlander, if last night was the last time we ever see you pitch in an Astros uniform, thank you, sir.
My hero.
You are a legend, and you're a first ballot Hall of Fame. Probably. I'm so confused. LOL. I don't follow baseball, and you're talking World Series. I thought the Astros won the World Series. No, we are playing Game 6 tomorrow with a chance to win the World Series.
Brian's from the future. He's like, I thought they won already. Nah, man, we're still trying to. They could win it tomorrow. It's possible. We'll see.
I mean, we get Framber Valdez, who's one of our aces. Our bats have started to come alive. Jose Altuve's hitting like he should be. Jeremy Pena's hitting like he should be. We need Yordan Alvarez to wake up. But they're gonna have Zach Wheeler with a sore arm on short rest. So
I feel bad for Yuli Gurriel.
We just got to hit.
I just feel bad for Yuli Gurriel. Did you see him get almost knocked out last night on that? That made me so mad because
he didn't even have a concussion or anything. It was his knee that was.
Oh, his knee was messed up. No.
Yeah, because he landed weird.
I thought he was concussed, honestly, because the way he kind of looked all lost.
I don't know why he didn't just World Series is best of 7. Mm-hmm. Hey, Brandy, what's up? Brandy just popped in.
What's up, Brandy?
World Series is best of 7, and it's 2-3-2. So Astros have home field advantage for 2 games in Houston, 2 games in Philly, 2.
Yeah, and that's the way it's been the last 2 times they've been. The only other time it was different was in 2017 because they had to do 3 games in Houston than the other 4 in LA.
No, did they?
Yeah, because they went and won in LA, and Game 5 was in Minute Maid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
every other year they've had the 4-game advantage.
Because I thought we won in LA, so we didn't have home field advantage in 2017.
No, we did.
Well, how was Game 5 in Minute Maid then?
That's what I'm saying. You're misunderstanding me. So they had the 4-game advantage. We had the 3. So we were home for 3, 4, and 5. And 6 and 7 and 1. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then we won.
The Dodgers had home field advantage. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. Yeah, because Game 5, World Series Game 5, 2017 is the best baseball game that's ever been.
It was crazy.
And I will die on that hill. That game was nuts.
I've never watched a sporting event have that many emotional back and forths.
Gurriel has tied it.
Oh, it's crazy.
I miss Joe Buck. He's not calling it this year.
I know. I do too.
One pitch to Springer and we're tied again.
Crazy. Oh, so I miss George Springer. Anyways, big game of the weekend. This is the last one that we're doing. We only got 7 games this week, not 8, because there just wasn't a ton of stuff that I thought was that interesting. Tennessee, the Volunteers, your number 1 Tennessee Volunteers, going to visit the Georgia Bulldogs. Vegas says, nah. Balls are 9-point underdogs, multiple score underdogs. So you take him here. You're wagering 2 points, not 1.
Whoa, Vegas! I don't know if I like that. Definitely played Orange and White by our good friend Connor, because that song. I say good friend like we know the guy. Friend of the show, Connor Smith.
Could you imagine?
You should listen to Orange and White, because that's what he's talking about.
This song is about this game.
Yeah. Also, Morgan Wallen has a song about Tennessee football out right now. He hasn't officially released it, but I've heard it going around on TikTok. So, yeah, this is weird.
Look, I'm gonna be real with you, man. Georgia's got a great defense, right? They've had their moments this year. You look at Mizzou, you scratch your head. They looked great against Oregon, but Oregon just turned things around. Georgia has looked progressively, although they are winning, they don't look as strong as they did early in the year. But even if they did, baby, ain't nobody stopping this Tennessee team. I'm taking the Vols, and I'm taking them big. Hendon Hooker is a phenomenal player. These boys are going to come out hot. This is your team this year. This is a national championship team. I'm riding or dying with the Vols all the way, man. Give me the Vols.
No, Brian says no interest in the Ducks dunking on Colorado yet.
Yeah, well, I'm taking the Ducks. Surprise. Shocker.
For the Ducks. Yeah, man, I'm taking Tennessee too.
Okay.
Like, if you got to slow down Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt, like.
Well, and I mean, you look back at the schedule.
This is going to be. We agree about this one. This is going to be the one we've been the wrongest about.
Well,
dude, I think Tennessee is the real damn deal. And since Georgia's been kind of sliding, like they looked really good against Oregon, but then you come out and you lay an egg against them and only win by 4 points.
Well, so like, what does it for me, man, is that look, just the way teams sometimes don't respond to success well, right? Like we've seen teams sort of come unglued after a big win that was really like season defining. We've seen that,
like LSU,
right? Like LSU, we've seen it time and time again. But what does Tennessee do after beating Alabama? They take care of business against a very, very talented Kentucky team, which I think was at Kentucky. Am I mistaken in saying that? They
only won by 3 points, right? Well, it was 45-42.
It was at home. I take that back. But they did have to beat number 19 Kentucky at home, and they beat them like 44-6. They're keeping their foot on the gas. This is a well put together team. They have a real leader at quarterback, and let's be honest, man. I think him being 24 years old has a lot to do with it. This is not just some college kid. Like, this dude's a man at this point, right? Like, he's
older than a lot of college. He's older than Tua. He's older than Jalen. He's older than a lot of NFL pros.
So, I mean, that being said, like, this is a grown man team. This is a grown-ass man football team, and I think they're going to take care of Georgia this weekend. Georgia's not the same. Their defense is not built the same way it was last year. They got a lot of new pieces that are good and that are definitely NFL talent, but they are not built the same. I got the Vols.
I got the Vols, too. Brian says Kentucky fried chicken. Can you tell I'm hungry? I want there to be a 24-hour fried chicken restaurant. Anyway.
I agree. There should be.
There's a lot of things that aren't 24-hour. Like, I will sacrifice 24-hour Walmart like I've given up back. Give me, like, 24-hour fried chicken. Ooh. Or, like, 24-hour... give me a sub shop that's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like, give me 24-hour Jersey Mike's. I would be in that thing all the time.
Give me 24-hour. What's the place I haven't gone there in so long? It's also a sandwich place. Why can't I think of it? Jimmy John's. Give me 24-hour Jimmy John's. You don't like Jimmy John's?
I don't like Jimmy John's, bro.
I'll choke you out next time I see you say that shit to me in person.
I don't like Jimmy John's, fam.
Too much mayonnaise?
No, because I like mayonnaise. I don't know what it is. It's not that they're not bad. I don't think it's bad, but it's like
I love them. And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I haven't had Jimmy John's in like at least a year. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I got to look.
Jersey Mike's is my sandwich place because all the Quiznos have closed down. So Jersey Mike's is my
which
place.
Is a shame, by the way, because Quiznos had some stuff. They had a
Brian says S tier is Popeyes and Panda. Popeyes, I agree with you about.
Popeyes.
I don't know about Panda.
From the north, you all about Popeyes, Brian? That's crazy to me, man. I thought Popeyes was like a South thing.
Yeah.
Let me think about this for a second. What was I saying, Jimmy John's?
Brian, this is no offense to your city, but I have a little. There's part of me that has a hard time believing that the Popeyes in Portland, Oregon is going to be any good.
Yeah, that's actually facts.
Like, if I think of Portland food, I want like, I want like sushi and like, I don't know. To me, sushi is like a very like Pacific Northwest type of thing.
I'll be honest with you. The only thing I know about Portland is that it's not Bend, Oregon, and Bend has the last Blockbuster, and that's all I know about Oregon. And apparently it rains a lot. That's all I know. I want to go to Oregon at some point, but
I do too. We should go to a game at Austin with Brian.
We should absolutely do that. Are you kidding me? Sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome. Yeah. I got them confused with Seattle for a second. But Seattle, their big like takeout food is teriyaki chicken. Like there's Will says, what about Ora Went?
Come on, Spencer. Yeah, I mean, come on, Will. Damn it. Oh God.
But yeah, when I think of Portland, I think of that Drake song with Quavo, with the flute in the background.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Give me a uniform. Look up.
SMU. Wearing all black. These Johns are clean. I don't know if you're going to get a clear picture of it, because the pictures I've seen, they had like blue lighting on. You can't really actually see it.
Ooh, let's see, though. Let's take a lookie. Here we go. All right. What's this looking like? Hello?
Who are you? It doesn't matter who we are. What
matters is our plan. Can we see the uniform, please?
No one cared who I was till I put on the...
You merely adopted the dog. I was born in it. Molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man.
Can I see the uniform, please?
Darkness is your ally.
There's not a clear picture of it. They're just black and blue. They look really good. I saw
there's
a video on their Instagram of the helmet.
Does Uniswag have anything for it? Let's see.
Yeah, but it's like the same video. Hold on. Go check their Instagram.
Here we go. This is a little bit better. Okay, this is kind of, you can see it a little bit better now.
The lighting was very off.
Back around the time, this is just like the most random memory. Back around the time The Dark Knight Rises came out, I saw like a meme video. I think it was Tobuscus actually, and it was something about like it was a video of a mouse, and he was like, "What is this? The bane of mice?" And the mice goes, "Once I have all of your cheese, then you have my permission to die."
I remember that video well. Yeah. That was on what was that, like Cute Win Fail or whatever?
Yeah, he had a bunch.
That is very early 2010s YouTube right there.
What's up, all of your cheese? Yeah, these look good though. Would love to see them in natural lighting, but I'm here for it.
Let me see.
SMU has been less fun to watch this year.
I still like them.
I do too. All right.
Let's go to Uniswag real quick. Boy, we wear Uniswag out on the weekly. We're on their Twitter all the time. Daryl, can I show you a thing?
I'd love it if you
doesn't have anything to do with college football. Well, but it is sports. It is sports related.
All right, let's hear it.
So I am not a fan. I am not really a fan or a follower of NASCAR.
Yeah.
But this past weekend or like 2 weekends ago, there was the race and there's a driver named Ross Chastain. And I want you to look this video up if you can and show it to the people.
All right, let me see.
This man went straight video game. And he was on the last... He was in
What am I searching?
Ross Chastain is probably going to be one of the first results.
Last lap?
Lap.
Oh, yeah. I did see this, actually. Yeah,
so he was in like 5th or 6th place, and he needed to be in the top 4 to go to the championship. And they're coming around the curve at the last lap and sticks it to the wall and floors it. And just rode the wall all the way and snuck into 3rd place.
You know what he does here? He does that shit that you did in Need for Speed when you like had to win this race. You're like, I have some nitros, and you just like stepped on it towards the finish line. Here we go.
That's basically what he did. The thing I loved the most was I saw a video on TikTok of all the spotters and all the other drivers to what he did in real time. And they were like, what is the one doing? And
he comes around.
And then he just gunned
the wall, and he's like, nah. Where's it at?
And then he sneaks past these guys right here and comes in 3rd.
I must have missed it. Hang on a second.
That's it. That's him. He's doing it right there.
So he's coming around. He's past the sign. And then he comes up on the wall, and he's like, all right, let me just... Oh, I see now. He comes past those guys. That's amazing. Oh, the angle I saw it from was the other angle. That's what messes me up. There, yeah. So right here. No. Whatever. I saw it. It's pretty crazy, man.
Ryan says the roots of NASCAR are badass. Bootleggers souping up their cars to get away from cops. I agree with you. Speaking of bootleggers, a movie that I know me and Daryl both watch the movie Lawless if you haven't seen it. That movie is fantastic. It's about the Bondurant brothers who were I don't know if these were real people, but they were bootleggers. It's got Shia LaBeouf and Tom Hardy. Go watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, Tom Hardy gets his throat slit and somehow survives. I guess they missed his jugular. I don't know.
Car racing is one of the sports that I have just zero interest in. So I'm like, is this what it feels like to watch football for non-football sports fans? Exactly. That's exactly what I felt like. I was like, that was a cool thing he did. Yeah. Like, I don't care about NASCAR at all.
That's how I feel about basketball. I'm just like, I'm out, man. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. If it's not the NCAA tournament, I'm like, sure, whatever. Football and baseball, that's what I stick to.
Agree. Well, hey guys, thanks so much for watching us. Good week. Good.
Is Magic the Gathering a sport?
To us,
is mayonnaise an instrument?
What? So our only differences this week were Wake Forest and NC State we disagreed on, and LSU and Bama. Everything else we agreed on. So we're gonna have another similar week. But will we be right about Tennessee? That's the real one we got to ask.
Brian asked if you're getting God of War Ragnarok.
Yes, but not yet. Funny enough, Brian, I actually just finished the God of War 2018, the one before that. I actually just finished that yesterday, and it was incredible.
I need to play that because I have a PS4 now, But I heard that Ragnarok needs to be on the PS5 because I heard it looks awful.
And to answer your question, Brian, that's why I'm not actually playing Ragnarok just yet, because I hear that potentially Santa Claus is bringing me a PS5 for Christmas. So that'll probably be the first thing I play on it when the PS5 gets here on Christmas morning. Until then, I have a million other things to play. I'm actually going to play this next because I haven't played it. So we're going to do that next.
I've never played The Last of Us either.
But somehow I have not played it. And
when I finish Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I'm probably going to play either God of War or Spider-Man or Red Dead 2 or...
play God of War, bro.
Or Arkham Knight.
Yeah,
I have a backlog now, which is weird.
Yeah, it's a thing, right? But somehow I also haven't been spoiled to this, so that's pretty exciting.
I watched a little bit that Trey streamed of it, and that's about it.
It's very, very good. You specifically will love it because you love all the mythology shit.
I was talking about The Last of Us, but I agree with you about God of War.
Well, I think this one is Norse mythology.
But God of War is kind of...
But previously it was Greek. So,
Yeah, God of War is the whole series, they're kind of flimsy with mixing mythologies together.
Yeah.
They'll do, Norse mythology, but then gods, and sometimes it's the Roman gods. It's whatever.
I saw a joke that was because in the first 3 games he was dealing with all the Greek gods, and then in this now he's onto the Norse gods, which is Thor and Odin and Loki or whatever. So now he's dealing with those, but in the old games he was in Greece. But if you know anything about mythology and how some of those Greek gods were adapted for Roman society, and they renamed it Pluto and Jupiter and things like that. So I saw a joke that was what if the next God of War he goes back and finds out that all those old gods he killed or dealt with are all back, but they're the Roman versions of them now, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, and then you got to do a God of War about the Egyptian gods.
Oh, God, they just
Speaking of that, I'm gonna eventually play Assassin's Creed 2, which is set in.
Yeah.
I'm a big Assassin's Creed guy. I haven't played a lot of the series, but I'm a super big fan of it. I am having probably some of the Celtic God of War. That sounds like fun.
That sounds like fun.
I'm having the most fun I've played playing a video game in a while, playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I'm happy for you.
I was kind of spoiled in the story. I know the main beats, but there was a part I watched it a playthrough at a time when I didn't think I was ever going to play this game.
Yeah.
So... But I'm having a blast.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad. It's good to see you back on it.
Also, if you like RPG, if you like the idea, but you also like RPGs, play Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. And then when the new one comes out, play that one.
Sweet.
Apparently, they have Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out, and then they have an Assassin's Creed that's supposed to be set in feudal Japan, where you're going to be a samurai. And I was like, but they already made that game. It's called Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, sort of. Well, he wasn't. Well, yeah. I mean, sort of. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima.
I'm gonna play Ghost of Tsushima eventually.
I have a copy.
I'm gonna play that too.
I have a copy. I should just give it to you.
Oh, cool.
Next time I see you, I'll just bring it down. Well, my friends, thank you so much for joining us. It was a hell of a show. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Go Astros. Go
Astros.
Go Ducks. Go.
I guarantee you the Cowboys are not losing on Sunday, Dan.
Let's go.
I guarantee you they are not losing.
Undefeated versus
bye week,
baby.
The Cowboys are on the bye week.
Undefeated against the bye.
Man.
All right, y'all. Be good. We'll see you next time. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, all those good things. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
Brian, Will, Stephen, Brandy.
Be good. Thank y'all so much.